Today, we're diving into the story of one of the most recognizable buildings in the entire world, the Taj Mahal. Now, you probably know it as this incredible symbol of love, and it is, but it's also a masterpiece of architecture that is now, quite literally, fighting for its life against the modern world. So let's get into it. This is an amazing story of beauty, heartbreak, and a very modern battle for survival. This line, from a poet who was actually there in the 17th century court, well, it tells you everything you need to know. It gets right to the heart of why the Taj Mahal even exists. See, this wasn't just some emperor flexing his power. This was a man completely broken by grief. This is the story of how an almost unimaginable personal tragedy gave birth to one of the wonders of the world.
So, let's start right there with the story itself. It's all about the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan and his absolute favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal. Their love story was the stuff of legends, but it was its tragic end that sparked the creation of one of the greatest architectural achievements in human history.
So in 1631, Mumtaz Mahal dies, and a grief-stricken Shah Jahan pours all of his sorrow into this one massive project, to build her a final resting place that would literally be a vision of paradise on earth. And this was no small undertaking. We're talking 22 straight years of work to finish the entire complex. It's just an unbelievable testament to his devotion. And to make this vision a reality, get this, an army of 20,000 artisans was brought together. And we're not just talking about local workers, no. This was a global recruitment effort. They brought in the absolute best of the best from all across the Mughal Empire and way beyond, from Central Asia, from Persia, from the Middle East, all to create something the world had never, ever seen before.
So now you have this international dream team of artisans, and overseeing it all is Shah Jahan himself, who was actually known as the Engineer King. The project was just as much a logistical marvel as it was an artistic one. It meant getting the absolute finest materials from all over the continent, and then combining them with some truly mind-blowing architectural ideas.
I mean, just look at this shopping list. The pure white marble, that was hauled over 200 miles by more than 1,000 elephants. That beautiful blue lapis lazuli came all the way from Afghanistan, jade from China, and turquoise was carried by yaks over the mountains from Tibet. So you see, the Taj Mahal wasn't just built in India, it was built with the treasures of Asia.
And here you can really see the incredible level of artistry. This technique, it's called pietra dura, and it is just painstaking work. First, artisans carve these tiny, delicate channels into the marble. Then they cut these semi-precious stones into these incredibly intricate little shapes. And finally, they set those tiny stones into the channels so perfectly that the final result looks like it was painted on. It's just absolute perfection. And the genius here wasn't just decorative. Check this out. The 4 minarets that frame the tomb, they're an engineering marvel. They actually lean ever so slightly outwards, away from the main dome. And this does 2 brilliant things. First, from a distance, it creates an optical illusion, making them look perfectly straight. But more importantly, if a massive earthquake were to ever hit, they're designed to collapse away from the tomb, protecting Mumtaz Mahal's final resting place. So clever.
So for centuries, this masterpiece stood there in all its serene glory. But that brings us to the second and much more alarming part of our story. We're about to see a dramatic shift from the dream of the past to the harsh reality of the present. Because that vision of paradise, well, it's now under siege.
Okay, so picture the original vision. This ethereal, almost floating structure made of pure, gleaming ivory white marble. Its surface was designed to play with the light, turning a soft pink at sunrise, a brilliant white during the day, and a milky silver by moonlight. It was meant to feel heavenly.
But this is the reality today. That flawless white surface is now being attacked by something some people are calling marble cancer. Decades of pollution are literally staining the brilliant white stone, turning it yellow and brown, and even causing it to corrode. The divine vision is being tarnished by some very earthly problems. So what's causing all this? Well, it's basically an attack on all fronts. You've got air pollution from nearby factories and endless traffic. That pollution creates acid rain, which literally eats away at the marble surface. But one of the biggest dangers is right behind it, the Yamuna River. This quote, wow, it really hits home how bad things have gotten. The very river that was a key part of the Taj's design, meant to reflect its beauty, is now incredibly polluted. And here's the critical part. The monument's foundations are built on giant wooden pillars that need to stay wet to remain strong.
As pollution and climate change cause the river's water levels to drop, those foundations are at risk of drying out, becoming brittle, and failing.
Okay, so that sounds pretty dire, but this story is not without hope. Faced with these massive threats, scientists and conservationists are in a constant battle, using some really cool science and ingenuity to try and save India's most iconic landmark.
So let's get into the science of this so-called marble cancer. The marble itself is calcium carbonate. When sulfuric acid from polluted rain hits it, a chemical reaction happens. It turns the marble into gypsum. Now the problem is, gypsum takes up more space than the original marble, which causes the surface to puff up, flake off, and eventually just crumble away.
And researchers have been able to pinpoint the exact culprits that are staining the marble that brownish-yellow color. It's a nasty cocktail of black carbon, think of soot from diesel exhaust, brown carbon, which comes from burning trash and wood, and just plain old dust. All of it settles into the tiny pores of the marble and just sits there. So how in the world do you clean something so delicate without damaging it? You use mud. Seriously, it's this amazing process where conservationists apply a thick paste of a special clay, called Fuller's Earth, all over the marble. It's basically a spa day for the Taj. As the clay dries, it acts like a giant face mask, pulling all that deep-seated dirt and pollution out of the stone. Then they just gently wash it off, and underneath, the marble is dramatically whiter.
But, cleaning the Taj is really just a temporary fix, a band-aid. The real, long-term solution requires a much bigger plan. So let's look at the large-scale regulations that have been put in place to try and protect the monument for the future. The Indian government created this huge protected area called the Taj Trapezium Zone. You can think of it like a giant protective bubble around the monument. It covers over 10,000 square kilometers. Inside this zone, polluting factories have been shut down or forced to switch to cleaner fuel, and there are strict limits on car and bus traffic to cut down on all that exhaust. But preservation isn't just up to the government or scientists. With millions of people visiting every single year, the actions of every tourist, every single one of us, actually matters. So, what can you do to help?
Well, the Archaeological Survey of India has some pretty clear rules. The biggest one, don't touch the walls. The oils on our hands build up over time and can cause permanent discoloration. No food or drinks inside either, to keep pests away. It really all just boils down to respect. By following these simple rules, every single visitor can help reduce our collective impact on this incredible place.
I really like this thought from one of the officials who works at the site. He said that if Shah Jahan could see the Taj today, of course he'd be heartbroken by the pollution and the state of the river, but he would also see the millions of people from every country, from every background, who travel across the world just to stand there and be in awe of his creation. It's proof that his tribute to his love has truly stood the test of time.
And that really leaves us with his one final big question. Shah Jahan built a monument he intended to last forever. But now, it's facing threats he could never have dreamed of. And it makes you wonder, in our modern, polluted, rapidly changing world, is forever even possible anymore?